We need to show all the golf course owners in Pennsylvania what all of these people do. Whether you like them or not is not the point here today. The point is they're going to give you as much good information about what you need for T-sheet service, for software service, and everything in between. Please introduce yourselves.
Ian Versaw, Club Profit Systems.
Dave Hernandez, Porsche Trucks.
Joel Ragar, 4-Up Golf.
I'm Mike Hendricks with Golf Now.
Jay Warnock with the Golf 18 Network.
Scott Merchant with Golf Pipeline.
Rob Smith with IBS.
Brian O'Hare with Golf Now.
And David Dixon with 4 reservations.
Okay, everyone. First question is open for Justin.
I'm Justin Smith from Old Homestead Golf Club. And if it's all right with Greg, if I could have everyone answer this, just 30 to 60 seconds. The NGCOA has published a best practices document on working with third-party tee time distributors. Yet the largest distributor, Golf Now, does not adhere to those practices. Please take 30 to 60 seconds to tell us why you feel it is in the best interest of the golf course owner to either follow these or not. And if we can start with Mr. Dixon and go down the road, that'd be great.
Okay. From a 4 reservation standpoint, we've always supported golf course operators, and we will continue to do so. Our goal is to provide the software tools at the golf course level once the golf or the third parties are bringing you these golfers to adhere to stick those golfers to your golf course. From our standpoint, you know, I'm not as familiar with those guidelines that you mentioned there, just because I'm on obviously the technology side and I'm kind of roped into the third party side a little bit more last minute. But I'm sure Brian and Mike will give you a little bit more idea on how that side of it works.
Yeah, we can always have to stand too, so the people in the back can hear the one.
Hi, and Mike Hendricks will add some content on behalf of Golf Now as well. I'm familiar with the recommendations made by the NGCOA. A couple of things I know that were out there came down to really an operator's control over the use of a third party. And we advocate that. Some specific examples are about things like contracts and things that allow that set clear and established terms of how a relationship should be managed. And we of course advocate that. One of the things that we are proud of is that there really aren't any agreements at the core level of entry with Golf Now. And what that means is that every day, those of us at Golf Now have to work hard to earn that loyalty. Any operator who's on our core platform and is not involved in a contract with us through technology elements can leave any day. And they can measure our success and they can manage our relationship and make a choice at any time if they'd like to do something different. So we realize that there are specifics in the recommendations about contracts and non-establishment of terms. We think we actually offer a better solution, which is there is no agreement. We want to earn your business every day.
Rob.
Maybe I should be a little more specific about the you having the opportunity to set the lowest price, which is a direct violation of what they have published. And so let's speak directly to that if we can.
I'll let Mike address that. I'm not hogging it, but yeah, I mean, we can discuss the relationship with barter and the pricing and the arrangements for being on Golf Now.
IBS's philosophies is to always protect our end user, which is obviously the courses, by following all the best practices that we possibly can and giving you the tools. Our philosophy is to make sure that we can provide you the ability for sales, marketing, loyalty, and communication, and put that in the hands of the operators. We don't set any prices. We don't collect any revenue from any of the tee times sold online. So it's really up to you on how you want to run your business and use the software.
Thanks, Rob. Scott.
Justin, good question. Thank you, and thank you for your business. Golf Pipeline adheres to every single point in the NGCOA best practices. And to answer the question, we believe in it strongly. It was the first thing that we did when the site went public, is that we made sure we signed them, because I remember working with Joe Rice and Mike Tinky, and they put a lot of thought into that document. And I think there's things in there that the owners should realize and know what the national is saying. So at Golf Pipeline, we do adhere to every single one of those documents or points in the document. We have that signed on file with the NGCOA, and we're happy to provide that at any point for anybody that's wants it and is going to come on the platform.
Thanks, Scott. Jay.
Yeah, with Golf 18, it's the same thing. I mean, I've been in this space for a long time. It started with Golf Switch, which was the first company to come out with like tee time distribution and integration to all the different tee sheets. So same process with us. My business model, or the Golf 18 business model, is entirely different as far as pricing. Is the golf course controls all their pricing, times, rates. We adhere to all that, and plus we do also have a contract. So if the golf course is interested in having that opportunity, or just like with Golf Now, no barrier to entry, no contract if that's of interest to you as well. We too want to earn your business, but based on the pricing philosophies, our business model is entirely different regarding that. The golf course should always control the price and time, whether it's on a trade relationship or whether it's on a net rate or a commissionable type business model. So that's our stance, and we'll always adhere to what the obviously NGCOA wants to have us follow as well.
Thanks, Jim. Mike?
So you want to speak directly to the pricing, right, of the trade time, I think is what you want to address, yep.
Or how you feel it's best for the golf course owners to participate in that when the National Golf Course Owners Association is saying we should not participate in that.
Right. So I think it's great for the golf course owner to participate with Golf Now because I think the return is excellent, right? So that's why I think that they would participate with Golf Now. Specific to the pricing of the trade round, the way we've always run our business and the way the terms that we work with is that one round that you allocate to us, or in some cases, some golf courses allocate 2 rounds, we'll be in control of that pricing. And that's just how we've always run the company.
Joe?
So we're not as much in we're not a platform. We're T-sheet, point of sale, mobile, website, the rest of that software. And so we've built, it's very heavy on the technology side. And so we have APIs which allow you to connect with other softwares. And we believe in empowering the course, building their brand, and giving them 100% integrity over their pricing. And so we can filter out any price structure specific to third-party vendors as well, all directly built, and you could change in real time on your side. So our focus is always to empower the golf courses and give you guys 100% control over your software, your pricing, your brand, your golf course.
Thanks, Joe. Dave?
Obviously, great question, Joel. Course owners, we're a golf marketing company, so we're in the technology side, web, mobile, social marketing. We offer tee time reservation center as well. Pricing is always controlled by the operator at the course. I think it should be controlled by the operator of the course. We work with them to make sure that we try to coach them, if you will, all the time on best pricing practices. We feel that you should always have the best pricing on your own brand and not a third-party brand, because then you, in our opinion, devalue your own product if you can get a better price outside of your product. And that's kind of what we help coach our customers that we work with.
Thanks, Dave. Ian?
At Club Profit Systems, we believe in the low price guarantee. We don't encourage golf courses to break that trust that they build with their golfers, where you know as a golfer that you're always going to get the right price at the golf course's website. The second part of those best practices I think is really important is the data management. If you as a golf course owner decide to give a discount, there's a reason for that discount. You want to build a relationship with that golfer. Well, that means you need their email address, you need their phone number, and you need to give them the experience. They need to have fun at your golf course, but you have to have that data. If a third party sends you that golfer at a discount and you don't own that email address and you don't know who that guy is, we feel like it's a lost opportunity.
I think it's Robert Marty, Distinct Golf. Distinct Golf owns and operates 4 courses here in Pennsylvania, 1 in New Jersey. One of the main owners is here. It's a family-run operation by the Jones family. Been there about 30 years and so forth. So I just want to make general comments, mostly to our owners and operators and so forth. The one, Mr. Hogue, took a lot of my thunder away, dirty numbers and so forth. I look at a lot of numbers and so forth, third-party discounting, nothing to do with this panel here. But basically, I ran some numbers in the financials and so forth. I went through a very popular third-party discounting book and so forth. One day, sitting at a girls' soccer game, and there was 187 courses in Pennsylvania in this third-party discounting book. I counted up, there was 120 offers for rounds of golf, $20 or less. At one time or another, went through my costs. I selected like 15 items, went through my costs, those 15 items, without the cost of depreciation, without the cost of loans and so forth, was over $20. So we're offering golf for a cheaper price than it's costing us, and I think that was part of Mr. Hoag's presentation here and so forth. Number two, and like I said, I just run a lot of numbers. Basically, like I said, with our 5 courses, and I called it the cost of trade. With our 5 courses and so forth, trading 8 rounds of golf a day, 7 days a week, April through October only, are our 5 courses. And this is a mix. This isn't our highest rate. This isn't our lowest rate. This is a mix. We run numbers every Wednesday that go on the report and so forth. This is a mix of numbers, even counting free golf, that's complimentary golf for charities or whatever. Our cost of basically our cost of trading, doing any type of trade for 8 starting times a day, 8 rounds of golf, and our 5 courses. That number came to $225,000. So I do a lot of numbers. I look at the numbers. That's numbers for I wanted to pass out to the public here. So.
Scott, I'm going to let you go first.
Just because I was nodding, maybe. So, those numbers back when I was with, 4 reservations, as you guys were at 4 reservations, we ran those numbers a lot, on an aggregate level to see what that cost was. I think if anybody uses 4, you can bring that up on your dashboard, that feature or whatever. So I think if everybody hasn't done that exercise, you probably should. It reminds me of the joke, the old accountant that says, we lose money on the initial sale and every sale thereafter, but we're going to make it up on volume. And I think we're starting to figure out here in 2013 that we can't necessarily discount ourselves into prosperity. Maybe we could if there was another 1 million golfers getting ready to come into the game and just fill up the tee sheet 100%, but there's not, right? So when you start to do into those different things, you just have to look at those numbers and crunch those numbers. And so that's why I was nodding my head and just look at those numbers from a cost standpoint and figure out what the return is, and then price out the technology that you need, because the technology will have a cost. As for reservations or Golf Now or Golf Pipeline, right? That technology will have a cost, and so it's just a matter of, do you think $225,000 is too high? And then where do you go from there? So that was just my general feedback as I was nodding.
So a couple things there. So one, I didn't hear associated the cost of the revenue that it generated, right? So I mean, look, if somebody came to you and said, if you pay me $225,000 and I return $1 million to you, there would be business owners that would say, okay, I like that deal, and there may be other business owners who say, I don't like that deal. But I mean, I think you do have to acknowledge the revenue that would come along with the cost. But secondly, and this is where you'll get some differing opinion, when you talk about costs as it relates to a trade round, you have to think about, well, in that window, in that time window that you traded out, what's your current utilization? Now, if you said, well, my utilization is 100%, then I think it's really easy to defend your point that, hey, I really incurred a cost here. But if your utilization in that time window, maybe it's a 1-hour time window, 2-hour, whatever, if your utilization is 15% or 20%, I think the other side of the coin is, well, was there a cost? Because really, typically, you're not selling very many rounds in that window. And I just think you have to think that through. And it may be different for each golf course, right? It may be different for each time window. But I would just say the other side of that coin is, what's your utilization near the time of the trade? And secondly, what revenue was generated because you entered into that agreement, right? Because you used that service. I think you got to address those two things. And then I would say, at some point, I don't think we've addressed the blog yet, right? I don't think we've addressed the post. And I know that we said we would address
That's
that.
going to go on throughout the whole meeting, I'm hoping. I mean, that particular post?
Sure, that's what started the conversation, right? We were going to address the post.
We are.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would like to add about the utilization. You could have 0% utilization at 2 o'clock. So you give that 2 o'clock tee time away, and you have 0% utilization, so no big deal. But if the guy that used to pay you at 11:30 is now playing at 2, that's the difference. So that's why that utilization is not the end-all be-all at your 2 o'clock time. If you're cannibalizing your business earlier in the day, that's the issue, and that's where the true cost of barter comes in.
Yeah, and the other way to look at that is if you move somebody from the 11 o'clock hour to the 2 o'clock hour, and the 11 o'clock hour typically has high demand, the thought is you backfill the 11 o'clock, right? And so, and then additionally, If it wasn't somebody that was typically already coming to the golf course, if you were at 0% utilization and a golfer came in from Golf Now or whatever aggregator tee time service that was a trade golfer, you've introduced a new person to your product, right? And which isn't all bad. You talk about different operators that have different free golf programs, and they cite that, and I generated $5,600 in F&B revenue because of this, et cetera, et cetera. I think you got to just factor that in as well. I mean, I think that's a benefit.
We can go back. When you introduce that new golfer, and I agree, that's a main reason to bring somebody else in to help you sell tee times, is to get some people that you normally don't reach. My issue with a lot of the tee time discounters and distributors is they don't send you the email address of the guy that's coming to your course. If they go on the golfnow.com and book that tee time and it's a new person to you, you have to train your staff at the point of sale to figure out who that guy is, what his email address is, are you ever going to see him again, or is he going to be at lastminute.golfer.com looking for the next low price for the next round of golf?
So that's a good point, and if I could, I want to jump in on that as well, is that our rate integrity at the golf courses should be of utmost importance, right? So that's why at our model, we want you guys to control all your times and rates. It's about getting the people, and most of your golf courses are local play, right? Most of the public, the golfers that play your course are within a certain radius around your facility. Golf 18, we're going to give you the email address, so we're going to help you build your email marketing data. But number two, and then most importantly, is that we got to get the people that play your courses to play them more often, but at a rate that you want to control. If you're putting out a golfer at a rate where you're actually losing money at your course, the cost of putting that golfer out, I don't care if it's a trade round, I don't care if it's one that you're getting collected on, you're still losing revenue on that tee time. So build your email database, market to your own public golfers that are playing your facility, getting that message out in front of them, and provide value with those tee times that you're trying to get booked into those slots where you need help. But control your own inventory, control your own pricing, and build your own email database to market out to those golfers. So it's a good point, T.
Rob, did you?
Yeah, it still goes back to the best practices, and when you are, trade in itself is not an issue. Trade actually has a lot of great values. The problem is trade for liquidation. If we're getting to a point where we're offering those, on the slide, I think it was $11 or $8 and so forth, and anytime we go to any of the websites, it's very clear which one of those tee times is owned by somebody else in the golf course. So when you start looking at that, you are conditioning that same golfer to go there. I was at a course in Tampa, and they said the guy just came in here, was sitting in the parking lot trying to find a better rate than what it was before that twilight rate. So you are taking that, that $30 or that $40 tee time and conditioning them to go and try to find that other tee time. And at the same sense is potentially then losing, as you said, the email, that then potentially they're getting marketed to the course down the street, which then allows, now you may lose that customer full time. So instead of those 5 to 10 rounds they're playing at your course, they could also disappear.
Well, and one thing with the Force software that I think helps combat those types of things are the built-in customer loyalty, the built-in awards. I don't know if you're using the loyalty program, Justin, but the goal within the software is once they're identified, we provide tracking mechanisms, and I think that's one of the reasons why Golf Now and Golf Channel were so interested in for reservations, was providing the golf course operator with additional mechanisms to retain that golfer and get him coming back. Whether it's through the email marketing campaigns that are 100% automated, meaning a one-time setup, a 1-hour setup, and they just happen, or through things like the awards and loyalty program that will then automatically print out balances on the bottom of the receipt, bounce back coupons to get that golfer to come back another time. These are all software features that For Reservations is invested in to help you take that golfer that the third parties are sending. And it's not just Golf Now, it's Golf Pipeline, it's all the different third parties, Golf Switch that are out there, and driving that golfer back to your facility long term to help your facility become more profitable.
Joel?
I think our recommendation is always, we hear over and over, know your numbers. And unfortunately, we speak with courses across the country. We're in 4 countries now, and it's across the board the same. Most people don't know their numbers. So we get someone that comes over as a golfer, and they don't know how many times they've repeated after. They don't know the source of this golfer when they're walking right in the door and they're checking them in. And so, with 4UP, that's part of our software. Our software is, we know you guys are busy. We know you're in hospitality. You're doing all these other things, and we heard about several other things outside of software, right? You guys have a heavy job, and so our focus is, if you're bringing in from third parties or anywhere else, Number one, you want the data 100%. And number two, you want to track that customer every time they come in or every time they don't come in. And then you'll really know the value of that customer, that benefit. And then tracking those numbers of how much is it for you to bring a customer in, how much is it for them to play your course, and are you making a return on that? You got to get these programs in place, and that's part of, you got to know your data, and we have KPI triggers and analytics to really help you guys understand the value of that customer. And we would recommend that across the board. The third parties we're integrated with on the panel, Course Trends, Golf Pipeline, Quick 18, several others, we're integrated with them, and they give 100% of data, and we get all sources and all the information and tracking of that customer, and it's because you guys have to have control of that, and you need to know how many times they're going to come back or how to get them to come back again.
I think a comment about data.
You bet.
Comment about data. It's a great topic, right? Because concerns about data ownership and things like that have gotten a lot of attention lately. So a customer who is a subscriber on Golf Now or Golf 18 Network or any other network, right, in most cases is opted in through that service. And they provided their information based on an understanding that they're providing their information to the service that they're engaged with. So they book a tee time through Golf Now at one of your golf courses. If you're interfaced with us, the name comes through to your tee sheet. If you're not interfaced with us, a fax or an email hopefully arrives at your golf course to tell you who booked the tee time. You can put them into your tee sheet manually. What should be occurring is that every single round of golf that is booked on your tee sheets through a third-party provider results in that person showing up in front of you at your check-in counter, which provides you with maybe 3 other golfers, with 2 other golfers, 1 other golfer, whoever that person might be with, for you to capture and collect data and establish a relationship. The third-party providers, and I'm not even just speaking on behalf of Golf Now at this point, the third-party providers, our main goal is providing introductions. We're bringing golfers that we think many golf course operators could not otherwise reach or get to know or target in what we think is a very efficient and cost-effective way, so that you can have those introductions and start those relationships. If a golfer shows up and had booked a tee time through Golf Now, and it's an overly burdensome process to capture that golfer's data at the tee sheet, then there should be some discussion about the processes to help do that. That should be a very, I think that's a very reasonable expectation, is that the pro shop is capturing data. So when a customer has subscribed to Golf Now, okay, our responsibility is to help provide that customer to your golf course. And then you have the opportunity to develop a relationship through those loyalty programs, through those programs that we heard in the presentation earlier that were very, very strong. An opportunity for a golf course to take its brand and present itself to the customer. So that, we love the idea of lowest available rate on a golf course website. We love those things. We see the value in being able to introduce you to all of those golfers. And we welcome the idea that golf courses are going to build relationships that are long-lasting after that.
Question for one of our customers. Sure. Bob Doria.
Bob Doria, Bakefield Highlands. We've had experience using a third party. We are no longer using third party. Reasoning being is, like your comment, I'm bringing new golfers to your golf club. Anybody using the third parties track those golfers that use the engine to come to your golf club and then realize that it's the same guy waiting for that tee time to come out at discount and use that tee time. That's the only time I see that player.
Tell everyone how many rounds of golf Makefield Highlands does on average every year.
Okay, last year we did 45,350. All right, this year we're on base to do about 43,000. My tee sheet utilization on a typical weekend is somewhere in the 85% area. We have programs, gentleman was, Mr. Hogan made the comment, going outside the box. We have loops at our golf course. We have a 3-hole rate and a 6-hole rate for late in the afternoon, where the goal is to get them out to play. Now, our biggest issue is that we track every time a round comes in under a third-party booking agent or through one of these books. So I can track who it is and by name, because my guys do collect their names when they come into play. And we track to see who's playing using those discounted rates. And we found that it's the same people. So what they're doing is they're waiting for that rate to show up at discount. Now what that does to my rack rate, which on the weekends is $79 with cart, it erodes my rack rate. Because now that guy is only coming to play my golf course at the discounted rate. I'm gonna sell that tee time regardless, if I have 85% utilization. So guess what? He's just taking that tee time away from the guy who's gonna call me or book it through our own booking engine on our website, and I'm gonna get full rack rate. What does that cost me? The difference between generalizing it, making $320 for that tee line versus making zero. So how much does that cost me? Gentlemen did the analytics and the numbers. We did the same thing. For us, it ended up being revenue neutral to a loss. I may be an anomaly. 45,000 rounds of golf, I'm definitely, well, you and I, Tony.
Yeah, there's a lot more.
Yeah.
Why did you try it? Why'd you do it?
Well, the thing is that when we took over the golf course, it was something that was already in place. We did the analyzation of what it was costing us. It's like anything else. It seems to be the right thing to do at the time, but it's not. It's basically that area got eroded to the point where I'm looking at it going, well, I just got another third-party tee time, and it's like, great, that's $320 I don't make. And it's going in somebody else's pocket. And those of you using the third parties, has anybody gotten a phone call from somebody? Hey, I saw on the third-party booking engine, a $38 rate to come out and play golf today. Can you honor that rate? No. Well, why? You want to book that rate? Go to the next day. But I'm not honoring that rate, and it got to the point where my staff, every time they would see one of them come through, going, got another one.
When did you get rid of it?
June.
Have you had any recoil from it?
Our going back to the analytic things, knowing your numbers, guess what? Like dollars per round went up $3 per green fee the next month after we got rid of it.
So it takes a month to get it out of people's mind.
Well, and the funny thing is I've gotten phone calls. We don't see you on such and such. I'm like, you're right. Why? We're no longer on such and such. You like to book tee time?
The conversation happens over the phone, like they still find you.
Right.
Yeah,
They still find us. They still, hey, I like playing there, but I only like playing there if it's $45. That's not my customer.
So I would say that I like the line earlier about all golf is local. I think Joe said it was golf is local. This is your situation and you know these numbers specifically, and I think that's great. I think there's the flip side of that as well, right? There are people in this room, right, that are seeing millions of dollars of revenue come from third-party tee times. So I think you got to analyze each golf course. I think you got to know your numbers, and I think it's great that you did, right? And I think it's great. It sounds like you're really buttoned up on all that stuff. However, I would say that you may be in a situation where there's a whole lot of people around you, right? And your location is great, and the golf course is outstanding, et cetera, et cetera. I think at the end of the day, what you have to understand, and I think all of you probably do this, each business is different. And you got to analyze your business. And you can listen to opinions and ideas and let those weigh in and how you make decisions. But for an operator to say it's not the right thing, I think there's got to be like a comma for us, right? I just don't think to make a blanket statement it's not the right thing, worldwide. I just don't know how any of us could know that on a course by course by course basis.
But here's what we do. Let's go right down the list here and just talk right from you, Ian, on down a little bit about customer service. And please address these two issues, if you all could, in your response. How is customer service handled and these kinds of issues at your companies? Now, whether you're a T-sheet company or a software company, I don't think it really matters. We're really talking about customer service here.
Well, let's address the rain check issue. There's a lot of different options in our software to handle rain checks. They come out of the receipt printer with a barcode on them. And most times, our customers choose to have a dollar value associated with that. So if you're giving a rain check for a 9-hole twilight, they can still bring that in on Saturday morning and pay you, full rack rate minus the value of that 9-hole rain check. And it's all done on the receipt. You bring up a good point. When the price of the round is zero, how do I prorate zero on the rain check? And I don't know that there is a good answer for that in terms of, from our standard rain check issuing. Now, when a normal round comes through our online reservation system with a price associated with it, and that guy goes out and he plays 5 holes, as opposed to having this sometimes contentious conversation with your golfer that says, well, if you've played 5 holes, that means you get a 9-hole rain check. Well, what about those other 4 holes I didn't play? We actually have a box pops up that says, how many holes did you play? 3 holes. Well, we're going to give you 15/18 value back, and it's to the penny. And it's on a barcode. You issue that to the customer, and there's no conversation about it. And they feel like they've gotten a fair shake. And they can bring that back and play at a higher price time, or they can bring it back and play at a lower price time. It's up to them.
Dave?
So we're a marketing company, of course, so not a whole lot to add here, obviously. What I would say is these guys are doing a good job answering it. We're an open marketing company, so we can work with the 4UP guys, we can work with the Pro Shopkeeper guys, we can work with the T-sheets that you have, and I think this question is really just for them.
Good answer.
But you can't work with, you can't work with one.
Can't work with one. We can't work with one, correct.
Yeah, which one's that?
4 reservations.
Yeah, that was just closed off.
That's right.
I use them, I use for reservation, now I gotta make a change.
Did you hear
I
that
use
question?
you too.
No, I understand. I mean, there's a reason why that
Did you
relationship
hear that
ended.
question over here? Why was that closed off?
Yeah, that needs to be, there's a lot of people not understanding what
What just
happened there.
So I think what happened here is the integration with 4 reservations. Previously, obviously, Harry owned 4, great relationship, everything was integrated and working properly. 4 reservations got sold, the integration got cut off. So customers who are using 4 reservations, I mean, it is what it is, right? So it's not doing that. We're an open business. I want to work with all these guys, not just, hey, this guy or this guy or this guy, and that's it. So it's a little different. So when they cut it off, there's nothing I can do to turn it back on, is what I'm saying. Yeah.
From a 4 reservation standpoint, real quick, from day one, since we've opened up the T-sheet to countless vendors, we have required a third-party affiliate agreement to be signed. Course Trends, I don't know why they're not signing the agreement that we did have in place, but they chose not to, and therefore that interface was indeed shut off.
Because they didn't sign the agreement.
The agreement has not been signed.
Well, let's go a little deeper into that. I mean,
Yeah.
so based on the agreement, so we had an agreement with 4 for a long period of time before that. Doing business with them, paying them annual fees. The contract agreement that was put in front of us had language on there that we just could not sign based on limiting our business opportunity moving forward. So
Can you be specific about that, maybe?
I can't be really specific, it's based on the affiliates, right? Being able to, we're an open solution, right? So just so you know, Golf 18 Course Trends, Golf 18 is the booking engine for Course Trends products. So it's important for us to be able to integrate with all the different tee sheets at the course level so that all the tee times that are booked hit your tee sheet. That's important, no matter what product you want to use. So had a great relationship with Harry, worked with him for a long period of time, but then the language all of a sudden changed on the agreement based on how we're going to be able to work with different affiliates. And it was going to limit our opportunity on what we're going to do moving forward. So contractually, we couldn't limit ourselves to sign this new agreement because not only was it going to be moving forward from that day forward, it was going to go back the whole period of time that we were working with them. So it exposed us to some legality issues that we just could not go down. So I don't want to get too deep into it, but we want to work with 4. We'd love to say, hey, we had a relationship with you. We'll continue working with you on the language that was initially in place. We just don't want the new language.
Guys, we have a question in the back here. Grace
Grace King with Moccasin Run.
with Moccasin Run.
Did that take place after Golf Now acquired 4 reservations?
Right after.
Thank you.
Right after.
The agreement was the same too, that they signed and negotiated with Harry several years ago.
But if the agreement's the same, why do we have to sign a new agreement?
New owners.
I think, we're getting into a realm of company-to-company contractual relationships, right, that has complexities that probably could go on endlessly from one side to the other, right? At the end of the day, 4 reservations basically signed all the existing interface agreements with the new entities that own 4 reservations. All of the existing agreements were offered out to the same third-party interface companies that were out there. Golf Now had an interface agreement with 4 reservations prior to acquiring 4. We probably still do, for formality's sake. The same agreement was offered. For whatever reason that we're not going to solve in this room, okay? That relationship had to cease. We had no intent ever to shut off any interface under any circumstances. Right? We do not want to restrict any operator's opportunity to explore every channel to drive every piece of business that it can that might be advantageous for your revenue. And I don't know that continuing to discuss it really is going to be productive. It's a contractual decision or a contractual discussion between two organizations that has intricacies and involvement far beyond what we're probably able to discuss.
Tom Bolko.
Tom Volko, Innisbrook Golf Club. We use Golf Now to grow a business that was dead at Innisbrook. And we're talking about, from my point of view, the Golf Now has marketing that I can't get into. You watch the Golf Channel, Channel 72, Chester County, Graham McDowell all the time, Golf Now, Golf Now. We have to be worried about what the customer's doing. I'd like to know what all of the other tee time providers are doing for marketing that'll give us the same exposure that Golf Now does.
Yeah, that's a great question, because the microphone is big and powerful, so there's no doubt about it. One of the things that attracts an internet user to an aggregated platform is ease of use and convenience, right? And so right now I think and it's not just Golf Now, it's a lot of them, are we going for a discount or are we going for ease of use and convenience? And so at Golf Pipeline, when I founded it, I wanted to get rid of anything else that would be discount related and just go straight to ease of use and convenience, right? And so that's why we signed the NGCUA best practices. So a lot of the things that we're doing is on the Golf Pipeline front is a social build and on a network build. We believe that the golfers will go, a segment of the golfers will go to wherever the inventory is, right? If I'm traveling to Philadelphia, I'm probably going to sort price high to low, and I'm probably going to choose your golf course, right? There's a segment of the population, my dad and my own, that will probably sort price low to high or search 50 other websites looking for that deal and looking for that discount. So I really think we're going to see two things split off here. So some of the things we're doing involve social growth and involve TV ads. It's a great medium to go through TV. So some of the things we're doing in our market are golf-related TV advertisements, just not on any of the existing ones, not on Golf Now or NBC. So there are other marketing partners out there in this world that are coming into the golf space, whether it be CBS, whether it be Fox Sports and their new acquisition of golf. So I think there's a lot of ways to reach the golfer. Right now, there's a great one out there, which the Golf Now microphone, the Golf Channel microphone. But I think there's others willing to go. The key always is of course golf courses. As we point out there, the contract doesn't exist, or you can get out right away with Golf Pipeline. There's in the contract a 10-day out. If the inventory ceases to exist, right, whether it be from Travelocity or Open Table or Golf Pipeline, your site sucks all of a sudden, right? The reason that I was going there was to find and make my life easier and book, and so now I'm on Open Table and there's no restaurants. So the site ceases to exist. So the power is actually in the hands of the golf course owner and operator, and that's where I think the network build is of the most importance. What you've seen in other verticals and other industries is that Open Table being the premier example is if the restaurants are there, the user will follow. And so that's one of the main focuses for us is to build the network. And then obviously the other thing is there's a big social component. The number one thing that NGF will always say is that the reason that golf isn't being played isn't because it's too expensive. It's not because you're charging $79 and just bleeding out every dollar from your golfer, which is great, by the way. It's because we don't have the time to play, right? And we're not invited to play. And that's the other pivotal role that Golf Pipeline is going to fill is make it easier to get that group together, make it a social and invitation process to extend that group and tap into the social networks to make it happen. So I think there's room for growth with what we're doing, and there's other entities to come into the market. I'm sure
Joel,
Golf 18 may have some.
Joel, Ian, and Rob.
Yeah, and I wanted to quickly touch on going back to support when we were jumping down there. Support for us is key, and I think that's with anything. There's got to be direct communication. I mean, when we set up new courses, and no pick on 4 reservations, they have the most, and so that's usually who we get new customers from as a newer company. We set up 4 last week. We've set up, as far as I know, being out of town, 2 so far this week. We can set courses up same day, right? Remotely over the phone. We're not flying out there. Our training is fantastic. You can capture customers in seconds going through the tee sheet. So our flow of software is directly related to make your job easier. Our support is 24/7. It's there built to build a relationship, communication with you guys. And I think one of our concerns has always been, again, we're an open source platform, which means when we build an API, we build it really diverse. And we say, here, it's open, come join. So again, on the panel, Course Trends, Quick 18, Golf Pipeline, and several others that are linked into us, we pass back all data back and forth. And I think the thing that's a little concerning for us when we try to empower golf courses is it Ashley or is it Ashley? Kelly?
No, yeah.
Kelly, sorry.
Yeah.
When you mentioned that it's...
I'm not Ashley.
Oh.
He's sitting in for Ashley.
Oh, you are.
My
She's Ashley.
His name's Brian.
Brian.
It's Brian.
So Brian, you mentioned that...
Ashley, you could be mad now.
You mentioned that you guys don't really bring customers. You provide an introduction, and for us that's a little bit of a concern for an operator, just because, yeah, that requires more work at the table, and that's okay, right? We can do that on the software side, which we believe we do, to make that easier. But the problem is they become your customer, right? And what we really want to do is empower them to become your customers, rather than I am a customer of just Golf Now or just Golf Pipeline, and then that's my source, right, every time. So then I become course agnostic, right? And I don't care about the course, I care about where I'm booking and what source I'm getting, whether it be price and you guys have great ratings as well for other things like how well the facility is and the rest of that. So what we want to do is empower though, and we've tried several times, so I don't know, maybe you guys have changed to work with you guys, and we have a full API, and you guys have an API and we're willing to do it, and we've been blocked every time that we've wanted to work with you guys, so we haven't got a contract that we're not willing to sign. So I don't know what that is, and several other companies that I talk with, they're blocked and they're not able, because I know you guys are rolling G1 Network, going to come out with your own software, so you'll control both sides. That's our only assumption of why you guys want to work with us. So I have nothing, I don't know an answer to that one. If it's just a contract, give us a contract.
You're talking about building an interface, and that's not our realm, right?
Right,
I mean,
that's a develop, and I know you've had discussions with us on the development side, right?
The rain check as the example, customer service issue, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good question. You know, I don't think any T-sheet provider can stand up here and say, we're going to run more commercials than Golf Now runs. That's not what we do. That's not who we are. We're not a media company. What we are is we're going to give you tools at your golf course and on your website to do your own marketing, to build your own online brand. If you choose to use Golf Now in conjunction with the tools that we give, so you use my online booking engine on your own website, and you also allow Golf Now to send tee times to you from that third-party site, you're not giving up your online presence to one single company. You're also working to gather email addresses at the golf course, to push people to your own website, to develop the loyalty from those golfers. We have no plans to start running commercials. We have no plans to make an aggregated website where you can go and see all these different courses. What we do every day is think about how can we help you get closer to the golfer. If your starter on the first tee has an iPad and he's able to take a picture of the foursome right before they tee off, leaning on their golf clubs, and he says, what email address can I send this picture to? You just gathered an email address. If you're on the phone taking a tee time and you say to the golfer, what email address can I send your confirmation to? You've just gathered, those are the kind of things that we're going to encourage you to build your own brand and to build your own online presence and to benefit from that. Not another company to benefit from it. Not this guy's going to course B next week because that email address isn't owned by you. So that's where I think we come in. And certainly we can't compete with golfnow.com and never-ending commercials, and we don't try to. For some facilities, Golf Now might be a piece of their total online presence, but it also needs to be, in my opinion, if Golf Now sends you golfers from their website, great. But have your own booking engine, have your own brand, own your own online booking on your own website. And that's where we're going to try and direct people to.
Thanks, Steve. Rob?
Same topic, correct?
Yes.
All right. It's very similar philosophy in that regard, where we do a couple things like that. To address the main thing about eyeballs, one of the things that we saw earlier today, it's much easier to increase a golfer you already have to play more than it is to attract new. So there's a lot of things coming in regards to getting as many eyeballs as you can. But with some of the automated processes that we have with our drive program, is the ability to say, who hasn't played here in 60 days, who hasn't played here in 90 days, who lives 90 miles away, who lives 10 miles away, and all the different criteria, and how can I re-engage them with loyalty, with our mobile app, how can I send them refer friends, so how can I continue to grow my own business from within, from what I already have at this point. And having, again, the database and who you can talk to and the email addresses obviously are a big key to that, for sure.
Thank you.
All right, so and real quick on that, from a full reservation standpoint, you know, part of that's probably our fault that courses were using a third-party engine, because I think from a software developer standpoint, our engines have lagged behind some of these third-party tools that Scott mentioned, trying to make it very easy. I mean, that was probably one of your chief complaints from that standpoint. So long-term, that's kind of a solution, or an issue that the software providers, in my opinion, and Joel's kind of shaking his head yes, created. So we tried to provide, or the third parties are providing, in some cases, the ability to list 5 rates or 4 rates, all right, which is something that Full Reservations has struggled from with day one, to have more than 1 rate on the website. So the third-party engines, and Mike can correct me if I'm wrong, anytime it's on the golf course website too, all that data is passing directly down to the golf course, always.
That's
So
right, and
there's
it
no
does
issue.
not become the property
Right,
of Golf Now.
that is solely the property of that individual golf course, anything from that golf course website. So long-term, the 4 engine, that was one thing they emailed out. If you're a 4 customer, that engine is alive and well. There is a new iteration, version 3.0, if you're interested in that. So long-term, you know, we intend to have all the same tools, hopefully even some better tools for you guys moving forward. So.
Yeah, and get back to the customer service level too. I mean, at Golf 18, we have an 800 number, so we actually have a call center that you can call into, customers can call into. We actually can help a golfer that goes to our website. If they're not used to booking a tee time online, we'll walk them through the process and we'll book the tee time for the customer as well. But the key to that is we're passing all the customer data to you every time somebody books. But we have a tee time manager, so tee time manager is dedicated to your state, that's going to be responsible for your courses, that's proactively and reactively working with you. So you can call them. We have, with Course Trends, we have service that's now covering 18 hours a day. So, and 1-day resolution. So you email us, you call us, we're going to get to your call and we're going to resolve the problem.
Unless they figure a way to mimic my tee sheet, I won't be able to use those guys either. I mean, I just won't be able to do it.
Real quick, I want to address that marketing question from the back earlier. So that got me excited because now we're talking about marketing and not rain checks. I think it's great. And I think the question I have for the back is, how big is your database? Like,
John, this is going back to you.
You want to reach more golfers.
We walked in with nothing.
You walked in with nothing. So you're literally ground zero right now.
We were ground
So
number, website, everything.
So I would just tell you from the beginning, what Scott or what Scott Lake had already done. You have to build your database. There's really 3 ways to collect. I mean, it's in person. It's like personal contact. I don't care if it's on the phone or the guys in front of you. Your staff has a choice. They can either ask for the data or not. It's a choice, and you can either enforce that or not, right? But you have to build your database. The second piece is your website has to build data, has to capture data. So everywhere on your website, everything needs to be actionable. Period. It's got to be actionable. And then third is you should make it viral. So me as a consumer, if I do business and I go golf with you, I'm not going to golf by myself. I'm going to bring a couple of guys with me more than likely. You have to make it viral so that way you can capture their data as well. So you got to use social networking. You have to use booking engines. You got to use loyalty programs, but you have to start building the data. And then the third thing is you have to be consistent with your communication. So we can all talk about technology and how great it is. If you don't use it, if you don't do the effort level, you're not going to get a return on it. That's just the reality of it. So that's where I get excited when we talk about marketing, because I can talk about it all day.
Yeah, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, Jeff Broadbelt from Broad Run Golfers Club. A real basic question for the booking engine people up there. How do you make your money? Tell me how you would charge the club, the consumer. How do you make your revenue? Just kind of get across the board.
You going software, or you want to go internet tee time reseller, or what?
Just booking it?
Your product.
Anybody with a book selling, marketing my tee times, how are you making money?
We charge the golf course a commission. So only on successful tee times booked, golf course pays us a commission. In exchange, we pass down, obviously at the time of booking, all of that data flows through name, phone number, email address, credit card. Also, the other 3 players in that group, we've created a patented invitation process where a golfer can go in, invite people from their own social network, from Golf Pipeline's social network that they've built by typing an email address, by connecting to their LinkedIn friends and Facebook friends, and invite those friends. They'll actually bring down, as those players start to accept that information, we'll actually bring down that player demographic information as well. So the trade-off for us is rack rate, tee times booked, player data brought down, commission brought back in. And what we found is that's the cleanest way. It's in line with the NGCOA best practices, and I believed it for a long time, and I've believed it as I built this company, that the commission model is kind of the model of the future. So.
Ian, real quick, you're saying you don't take anything from the consumer?
Absolutely.
There's no cookie jar?
No, and then what that does, it makes it real pure in Bob's example, which is they come in and they pay him the $79. I love it.
Club Profit Systems booking engine is $100 per month, no upfront fees, no term contract, cancel anytime.
Is this for softwares as well? We're not a glorified booking engine, but yeah, ours is no contract, no setup fees, no upgrade fees, all so you can do an annual and or a monthly payment on just a reoccurring charge.
Yeah, for the most part, booking engines.
Yeah, it's the options that IBS offers is a flat rate you use. We also do commission-based and also potentially transaction-based, but only off of the drive marketing programs that we offer. So we're not looking for off every transaction, only the ones that we go out and try to get the additional revenue in rounds that you traditionally wouldn't have gotten. You know, the refer friends, the birthdays, the anniversaries, the 30, 60, 90s, how many times they played, those types of things.
And to clarify, we're not a booking engine on the golf course's website. We're the level up above. So there's the booking engine that drives the golf course's website, and there's another definition of a booking engine would be a Golf Now or a Golf Pipeline that kind of controls on the aggregate side. So we don't do anything on the golf course's website. That's the domain of Ian and 4UP and 4 Reservations.
On very similar for reservations, many of you guys pay for our booking option right now, or our online booking engine. With the recent acquisition, 4 Reservations does also offer a trade agreement if you would prefer to no longer have those software fees.
And David, what's the name of the module, right, that includes the 4 engine? Just so,
4 Internet.
So if you are a customer of 4 Internet, that comes with a booking engine.
Yeah. Which everybody in here would have unless you're not booking online.
The Golf 18 on the booking engine, we provide it free to the golf course, so there's no charge, no booking fee, nothing on the course website. Golf 18 on the portal side, we do charge a booking fee, it's $1.49. We have a trade model, it's a maximum of 2 tee times per week. Or you can go net rate, based on a % on tee times that are booked through it, that we capture from the customer. But on your own course website, it's free.
Anyone else?
Well, I mean, we obviously offer a booking engine as well. We have a couple different iterations of them, but it comes along with Golf Now, right? If you use Golf Now, we offer you a booking engine. You don't have to use our website product, right? So we'll build you a booking engine, and if you're a Course Trends customer, you can go to Course Trends and say, hey, please install this booking engine on my Course Trends
Mike, I think
website.
the question, do you want to repeat that question, Jeff, what your last question was?
How do you charge to make money? So
Yeah, I mean, it's the 1 trade time or 2 trade times, you get everything, right? It's not like there's an additional charge to use our booking engine. It's just included in the standard package. We have what we call a core package, just so everybody's clear. Going back for years and years and years. Our core offering is you get to put your tee times on golfnow.com. We'll also provide you a booking engine if you want to use it. No booking fee to the golfer there if you don't want it to be there. And then you also get an email tool. So that was always our core offering.
Go ahead, Lamont first and then Larry. Go ahead, Lamont. Please stand up and recognize yourself.
Lamont Smith, I'm with Raspberry Golf Management. We have 6 golf courses, 3 on the East Coast, 4 in Northern Virginia, 1 here in PA, and 1 in Phoenix, Arizona. 5 of the 6 we are actually an owner in. We have an ownership stake in. The one here in PA we don't, because that's owned by a utility company, so there's no way to get an ownership stake. We are very vested in Golf Now and in 4 Reservations. One of the things that we sort of pride ourselves on is the fact that we take very seriously the fiduciary responsibilities that we have with the ownership groups to make them as much money as possible, because the reason they've got together with us is because they've made an investment. All the courses that we're into are not out of ego or passion, they're out of investment. And I've heard the commentary about average green fee and utilization and some of those other things. But one of the things I've learned in the industry and in the business very early on, and I'll be be 30 years next year I've been in the business, that you can't put in the bank utilization or average green fee. You put cash in the bank. That's the only thing you can put in the bank. Okay, so you can talk about operating margins, average green fee, utilization. At the end of the day, the only thing you can put in the bank is money. And that's what our owners expect, and I think most of you, whether you own your own entities, unless it's Scott's case or whatever, is what you can put in the bank. And with Golf Now and with full reservations, we put a lot of money in the bank. I did an analysis. Once I saw what came out that you shared, I thought it might be wise. I did some homework and did some analysis on our properties. And the 5 on the East Coast, this year, 2013, through September 30th, we will have generated 29,585 rounds through Golf Now that have accumulated $1,802,000 worth of golf business. That's up 7% over 2012, same time period. What's really interesting, which sort of defeats some of the commentary I heard earlier, is that average green fee of that Golf Now round is 22% higher than our average green fee aggregately over all the rounds that we do, minus the membership rounds that we carve out because that's a different calculation. So we're seeing that the Golf Now round being significantly a better round for us per player. I heard the comment earlier about, I think you said you did 45,000 rounds at Mayfield, and you were at 85% utilization. In the old days, when we had the city courses in New York, when I was with American Golf, we had a golf course do 110,000 rounds. Brian can attest to that. Can I maybe evolve why I think it is and why maybe we do well with it?
Okay.
We approach Golf Now, I think, a little bit differently than everybody else does. We take the approach with Golf Now very much like the approach, if anybody in here has ever tried to buy an airline ticket, you know that if you pay 2 weeks out in advance, or get it 2 weeks out in advance, it can be a lot cheaper than as you get closer to the date you want to fly. Same thing is true with a hotel room and with a car rental. You know, if I book a flight 21 days out, I'm going to get it less price and I'm going to get it 7 days out. Well, that's how we use Golf Now. Monday and Tuesday, our Golf Now rate is lower than it will be offered on Thursday and Friday. We want to fill the tee sheet early because then we reduce the supply and we create demand later in the week.
Is that something that everybody can do?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
The second thing we do is that when that person comes in with Golf Now, with their certificate, we share with that person that they actually can get a better rate on our own website. So if we don't already have their data, we capture that data, all right, and try to get them to come to our website. So the best price you're going to get for any of our courses is on our own website versus any of the third parties.
What about the trade tee time?
Trade tee time, again, I'll go back to utilization. We had a golf course in New York City that did 110,000 rounds, all right, still had utilization. I ran a golf course in Northern Virginia that did 66,000 rounds annually. We're only doing 62% utilization. That was 30% unutilized. So what is the value of that one tee time?
Well, no, I
in
guess
that
the
mindset?
question is going against if you have the best rate guarantee on your website, but they have the trade tee time and they're selling it at whatever price they so choose, then the best rate is not necessarily on your website.
It's that one tee time maybe they provide, but then it's my job to convert that customer to go to my website on an ongoing basis, because that customer is not always going to get that that tee time.
But the best rate guarantee is not on your website then?
Yes, it is. The best guarantee that I offer is, yes. Yes, it is. All right? Because I see that one tee time that they're providing as 2%, 1% maybe in prime season of what's available. I still have 99%. And again, I don't take my percentage to the bank. I take cash to the bank. All right? So to me, it's how much cash I can generate. And I can generate a lot of cash with Golf Now. A lot of cash.
Justin, if I can just interject for 1 second, just as a one-off, because if you know, best rate guarantee is like, but I have to have that. I just would let you know, you could put the trade in that booking engine, right? And then you would know on every single tee time, I truly do have best rate on my website. So I just want to throw that out there to you. I mean, that is the way to ultimately work that thing to 100% perfection.
The amazing thing that I thought was how my average green fee per Golf Now rate was significantly higher than my average green fee aggregately across the board. I have some golf courses where the average round per player off of Golf Now is 25% higher. 25% higher than my aggregate average green fee.
Do you have them as your booking engine on your website? So these statistics are also coming just from basically your online customer as well?
No, these are coming, yeah, from Golf Now.
Well, from the Golf Now booking engine on your website or from Golf Now's distribution channel?
Distribution channel, yeah. So I guess the point that I wanted to make, a couple of things we do. The one thing I mentioned is that we put the best offer of the Golf Now on the front side and then grow it on the back side. The other thing we do is we have a revenue manager. We invest in an individual who looks at the 4 tee sheets in Northern Virginia, and that's his job. So he's managing that process. We don't allow Golf Now to manage it. We don't allow the general manager to perhaps manage it on his list of 20 things to do that day. It is his primary job. And I think that's why we get the results we get, because we focus on it, because it's our lifeline. It is what makes us either profitable or not profitable. Because like it was said before, I think when we were talking about Old Stonewall, all right, and the percentage mix of revenue, all right? This is the revenue we get to bring to the bottom line. This is truly the revenue we get to put in the bank. So we're not going to take our eye off this ball, whether it's with membership sales, outing sales, or managing the tee sheet. So I just wanted to show from our perspective that it works. We have to manage it. We have to really work it. We have to leverage our relationship with Golf Now and let them know what we want from them. And we've had some communication issues, like was shared earlier in the room as well, and I'm sure that they've heard those and have responded accordingly. But I'm here to tell you it does work if you work the system. It's worked for us. And these numbers don't even reflect the course we have in Phoenix, where they do twice as much of Golf Now business out there, because that whole market is almost all of that kind of business. It's all third party coming into your website.
Do you feel like you have an advantage over maybe some of the other owners who have one golf course to manage?
Well, I have one golf course. My course in PA is a one-off. It doesn't have any leverage with any of the 4 down there. And its average green fee through Golf Now is 23% higher than its aggregate average green fee. So again, they're managing it, you know, in a very astute way.
When you're negotiating with Golf Now and you're bringing 5 courses to the table, do you feel like you're getting...
Brought them one at a time. That relationship grew from 1 golf course to 2, to 3, to 4, to 5, to 6.
You mentioned sometimes you need to tell Golf Now what it is you need.
Well, we've had communication issues. That we had a situation not too long ago where their site was down, which prevented some of our people being able to book. Obviously, that hurts us financially. They came back and made some concessions to help us make up that loss. They couldn't make up the loss that day. That had kind of come and gone like the proverbial horse out of the barn, so to speak. But they worked with us down the road and helping us make that up. And, you know, so we have to hold them accountable. But I think that's like any other business relationship you have with anybody. You have to communicate and you have to hold both sides accountable. Hopefully we're a good customer for them. I like to think that we are. And I can say today from the analytics, you know, they're a good customer of ours. So
I'm a little dense. You're saying that you are getting 22% more in the green fee?
Our average green fee per round for all public rounds is running at 22% higher through the Golf Now bookings than our other play.
Okay, so either you're discounting the heck out of something, or they're selling it for more than your rack rate.
No, because we don't discount at all. We have tier pricing.
Well, then how are you getting more?
Because the rate that we're getting for them on an average exceeds our average overall rate for public play.
His rate at 6 a.m. might be 22, his rate at so-and-so,
Right.
so-and-so, he's taking them all and averaging.
I'm going to have a twilight rate, I'm going to have a super twilight rate, I'm going to have a early bird rate.
So if you come up with an average rate of $25, and then they sell a $60 round on your top rate time, Yeah, you'll be getting more.
Okay, so we don't have very many trade times that are Saturday morning at 8 a.m. We don't have very many rack rate, high demand period trade times. We have some. Some operators have been great to provide us with inventory that we think has high demand. The price on that is significantly higher than the price at 145. Right, we only have one tea time a day.
So that's a key point that he just made. I just want to make sure everybody understands, right? So the trade time is typically distressed, 2 o'clock, 1:30, whatever. As a matter of fact, in Pittsburgh right now, you're seeing guys go to the morning because nobody wants to play at 8 o'clock in the morning on a Tuesday, right? So, but when we talk about all these rounds we sell, and for golf courses, some golf courses, they have a higher rate on golf now than they do overall, et cetera, et cetera. That's because we let them sell their whole entire tee sheet if they want to. They can sell 7:30 in the morning and 9:30 in the morning and charge whatever they want, right? They're in control, complete control of all that pricing. And the point was great that you made, and you manage it, right? So if we give you the ability to sell all that inventory and do all these different things, and then you say, and you know what? I'm actually going to work it. Like, I'm actually going to get involved and really try to make this be a significant revenue source for my business. We see phenomenal success stories in that environment. So you got to understand, we're talking about a very, very, very small piece of the tee sheet versus the whole entire tee sheet. And that's why those numbers are the way they are.
And I think what you said, and we come from the stance that there is big, right? They talk about the grill in the room, right? There is huge potential to reach your customers through their marketing sources. But I think what you said is key, that everyone has to understand is it's a tool that you need to use. You can't turn it on and just expect it to work, right? We go back again from our software, we have analytical dashboards, give you key metrics in real time, so you're not looking for them, building them yourself. You need to know your data and then apply them through Golf Now or whatever source you're using. Maybe it's more work than you want to do, and then that's a different concern. But we do believe that our software, and we've seen others as well, helps take some of that responsibility out. But more than anything, you're operating multi-million-dollar businesses, right? There's some effort needs to be put in Golf Now, along with Golf Pipeline. The rest of them, you can't turn a trigger and expect it to work. And I think that's where some of the bad things come from, or people, and that it is a tool that needs to be used actively.
By the Realtors Association.
Exactly. That's the key part.
I have some information related to that I'd like to share with you. Brian, you mentioned, and I've kind of heard throughout today that ultimately it's the owner-operator's decision on exactly how they deal with this. Lamont obviously is managing yield very well, and one thing I think we all need to keep in mind is no matter how we distribute tee times, we have to manage our yield, or else we could very well find ourselves right back in the situation we're in, right now. But again, options, I think, are key. And on October 3rd, a couple of weeks ago, the National Golf Course Owners Association Board had their fall meeting and agreed collectively to take the best practices to another level and move toward some additional action on behalf of members, and for that matter, all golf course owners and operators. So the board voted unanimously to begin pursuing a strategic relationship with a tee time distribution partner. It's very early in the process, and we have a long way to go from where we are right now to identifying that partner or partners and delivering a solution. But it's a first step, and it is something that we're pursuing very quickly. So you'll learn more about that in the future, and we'll be communicating through the chapters and directly with each of you. Some key tenets with that relationship would be really based on the best practices, but I'll just name a few. Owner-controlled pricing, owner-owned customer data, an exclusive benefit to NGCOA members that are within that system versus non-member courses that are in the system. And then lastly, first and foremost, that any revenues that are generated as a result of a system like this would go back to the golf courses. So again, we got a long way to go from that announcement to a product.
Which, I'm gonna open it up to all of you. Do you all believe that your number is increasing? Art?
My name's Art Hawk, I'm with Three Lakes Golf Course, and I'm relatively new both to the golf industry. A lot of these guys have been in this business 30, 40, 100 years, whatever, I don't know. I'm 7 years into it. I'm relatively new with Golf Now. It was a decision that we made because we were with 4 reservations, I believe, and my daughter really takes care of that, and I'm 62 years old and tech unsavvy, you know. I have a 7-year-old granddaughter that does better than I do. But Mike, I would ask this, and I hear what Kim's saying, and it makes so much sense, and I hear this background in the whole room of there has to be a bottom number. Okay, we give you a bunch of junk tee times every day. Tee times that we probably wouldn't sell. So it's no skin off my back. You know, it costs us a little bit for the quart of gasoline to run around a golf course and some wear and tear. Most of us in this room are unlike what he has over here with 85% usage. Is anybody even close to that in this room? I mean, there's little places out there, and I won't ask anybody to answer that, but I can tell you it's probably no, you know. So if Golf Now would put a drop dead number, I won't sell it for less than, if it costs me $20 to have a round of golf, I'm gonna say, Mike, that's my bottom line. I said, don't want to sell it for less than $20. Now, I've taken all the work out of this, some of the work out of this. I don't have to bracket your free time now. You know, I'm not discounting a time on either side of yours, or I have to do less work. And if you have Golf Now people coming into your pro shop and saying, this is my trade time, and you don't collect the information, shame on you. You know, I don't have an email address. How did you book this? You know, write it down here, you know. That's insane, you know, if you're not collecting that and you're not adding that into your database, shame on you. That's not Mike's fault, that's not Golf Now's fault, that's your staff's fault. Collect the information. But if you could somehow or another look into it, I didn't realize that it worked that way, a sliding scale, you know, as the date got closer, you know, down to, or you don't sell it. Kim's argument is right, and you guys have all the statistics and the math. If he says his drop dead number $60, he won't sell it below that, and mine's $10. That's where you become individuals. So if you'd agree to that, I think this whole thing goes away. And I think Golf Now becomes the most popular place in the world. And the way for us to, I mean, all you guys basically can work for Golf Now, right? Is search engines and, you know, and, well, I don't know. You know, see, that's what I don't know. But if you would comment on that specific question is, could you put a bottom line on it? Don't sell it for $9.
So our policy has always been that time is a time that we're gonna price, and again, you know, we're gonna try to get as much as we can because that behooves us to raise our revenue. But really, I mean, we've made it a policy to not agree, the industry term for this would be floor, right? And so we've made it a policy that we wouldn't agree to a floor for trade. And that's where the operator, I was in a room similar to this years ago in Minnesota, and a gentleman stood up and he said, it seems to me that Mike is saying he's gonna do XXX and all this stuff for you and help you sell inventory. And the way you're gonna pay him is you're not gonna pay him in cash, you're gonna pay him by giving him the right to price one of your tee times. And that's really the decision that every operator has to make. Now, You could monitor that, right? You could monitor that. You could call your local rep and say, hey, I've been watching it, and either you're doing fine, or hey, I saw one day where I didn't like it, and I wanted to share that information with you, right? Nobody's saying that you can't have back and forth with your rep, right? But on a global level, right, on a corporate global level, I don't think you're going to see us agree to some kind of a national floor program or something like that.
But you will
So
agree
there'll
to
always
a
be issues.
floor program
Yeah.
with
No,
certain
why would you not?
multi-course owners.
Well, I would say
Yeah,
that,
that's either yes or no.
yeah, well, I would say MCOs, multi-course owners, different companies, whether it's a Kemper or a Billy Casper or something like that. Or a Troon, yep, or a Troon.
You will agree to a floor with them.
I would just say that those deals are one-off deals, right? And
One-off times 200 or 300 or 400 or 500 golf courses.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to get to some more questions here. Chip, and then I know John Byler and Steve, so go ahead, Chip.
I know there's a bunch of people that are interested in the Four Reservations Golf Now relationship, and we've used Four Reservations for 15 years. Are you guys in the next 3 to 5 years going to force us to do anything if we do not want to do Golf Now? You guys
so
said
this
that.
was the question that we all came here for, right?
Okay,
so
here we go.
finally got to it.
So let me just poll the owners here. How many of you are on 4 reservations right now? Okay, so we have arrived at the seminal moment of the meeting, as you've just
No,
said.
and let David do it. I mean,
Well,
David's the
absolutely.
floor expert.
And from a floor reservation standpoint, first and foremost, thank you guys for your 15 years of business, and we will continue to provide that software for you. Our plan is to continue to offer those those cash options for you, although we do have some customers that have chosen to utilize a trade option as well. And I'm going to be very frank. I've worked with a lot of courses. I've been with 4 reservations since 2006, and the reason we were losing deals was not because of a feature we didn't have or something like that. The reason we were losing deals was because I had an operator that couldn't afford to spend $10,000 or $15,000 by the time we entered new computers and all those types of things into the situation, that they just flat out couldn't afford that technology. I think the opportunity now to do a trade arrangement for the 4 software will take away some of those barriers and allow some of those courses that haven't had that 10 or 15K outlay to be able to use a product like 4 reservations now to not only help track their customer play better and stuff like that. Second, whatever you paid last year, that's what you're paying next year. All right, so there's no price increases or anything on anything that you guys have used from us in the past. 5 years down the road, I can't speak to that. We had in our agreement that every year 4 reservations could raise their rates. They never chose to, but in the agreement that everyone in here that's a 4 reservations user signed is built in there that they can raise the rates, with writing.
David, can you address cash upgrade?
Go ahead, Chip.
Same service and everything the same that someone who trades with you would get?
Say that one more time, sorry.
Are we going to get the same services and the same operation system that everyone else who would trade with you
Product
upgrade?
offering would be exactly the same. The only difference between our trade agreements and our cash customers is our trade agreement customers have what we call buffet pricing. So for that tee time that they're trading us, they get every service that 4 reservations offers.
Or what you call modules, right?
Or modules, right, exactly. So that would include anything that 4 reservations offers, but we'll continue to offer all those exact same modules, for you guys that you have in the past.
And if the latest version of 4
entirely
is
the case. From when I spoke with Brian, and I'm not calling anyone out here, you guys have modules which as a cash customer I cannot buy.
That's not true.
I want your dynamic pricing module for your online booking engine.
That's not a 4 reservations product.
Okay, so now Golf Now is 4 or 4 is not Golf Now. They have products that you can't buy as a cash customer because you're creating the distinction as, oh, this is Golf Now's product line. Oh, this is 4's product line. I want what some of the Golf Now products are for cash.
Right.
But you're taking that, you're saying, yes, you can have everything. The answer is no, because you have defined the difference between Golf Now and 4.
This seems to be a bit of a moving target.
But Justin, you're talking about the booking engine, right? So the booking engine.
Yeah, the dynamic pricing module
The
behind it.
online booking engine that you might choose to install on your website.
Right.
The 4 technology has and has always had one. They have an upgraded one. okay? We, right, we're all still getting.
But they don't have the dynamic pricing
Okay.
model.
However, but
Yeah.
that product was available through Golf Now long before the acquisition of Ford. It's not like that was developed and then isolated, right? That product has always been part of being a Golf Now customer. And what we have done is we have blended the availability of that into a barter model, and that you have to be a Golf Now customer to get a Golf Now product, okay? But the comment about Ford is that if you're a cash customer and have been paying cash, all of the upgrades, all the things that have been available to you under cash are still available to you. Nothing is being removed.
But you're going to keep a definition between the two companies, and you can then use that to say, oh, we created a new product line, but in the technology field, but it's only available for the Golf Now, the trade customers.
But Justin, we're not removing any availability of
You're not moving it currently, but future development, you can then define based on, I'm going to say, Ford will get this, Golf Now will get this.
Okay.
For new technology that you develop in the future.
From an electronic T-sheet and point of sale standpoint, I think there's not really a whole lot of confusion there. The only confusion could be with email marketing, website hosting, and online booking.
Well,
There's
and
a lot of overlap
that's what I'm
there.
specifically
There's
talking
a lot
about
of
now, is the
overlap
online
there.
booking, because you both have one.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Ian.
And we're looking to merge those technologies moving forward. We were bought June 1st. They haven't figured out how all those pieces are going to work together
So
yet.
when you merge them together, the current feature of the dynamic pricing module, will that be available to cash customers?
I don't know how that's going to work long-term, no.
So I think that's what his main question was.
So he wanted a Golf Now feature added to the 4 reservations suite then? Is that kind of what you're looking for?
I'm just wondering, next year if I have my 4 reservations as I have it now, I can still use it.
Absolutely.
You keep improving.
Everything's exactly the same as January 1 of this year.
Keep improving and offering me.
And so that's the point I want to make sure everybody's clear on. So we just rolled out, or Ford just rolled out version 2013, right? Several people got it in the fall of 2012. Let's just say that we roll out 2015 in a year from now, or 2000, et cetera. If you're a cash customer, you absolutely have access to that upgrade. There's no upgrade that we're going to say, oh, I'm sorry, you can't have the upgrade because you're not a barter customer. That's not happening.
But I think what Justin is saying is because there's a wall between Ford and Golf Now, when you come out with something new, if you choose to come out with it on the Golf Now side, he's stuck because he doesn't believe in the barter. He doesn't want to go there. When you sign up with Club Profit Systems, and with no term contract and a monthly fee, not only are you signing up for the products that I'm going to come in and demo and show you, but you're also seeing, from a technology standpoint, that when the whole world switches from desktop computers to phones, I need my my online booking system needs to detect that and switch formats. That's something that you're relying on me to provide to you in the future when things change. And I think the concern here is, because there's that wall between the two companies, when you guys come up with the new stuff, if you choose to put it behind the Golf Now wall, the only option these guys have to stay current is to barter. And I think that's Justin's concern.
Oh, yeah, and I think the concern is, like, you guys came out with a letter yesterday, or this week I saw it. So the concern is, for reservation users, we're using that internet platform, we're using that. When I read between the lines of the letter, the concern is, we are not going to continue to develop on the 4 side, and the internet, and the book engine, and the server.
We launched a brand new booking engine on July 1st. So I think that speaks to the fact that they're encouraging us to continue to come out with new products.
I mean, that's the question. That's what, when I read that letter, that's how I read between the lines.
Right.
Hey,
From
a Golf Now standpoint, we're going to kick the butt out of the internet. From a 4 standpoint, sure, if you're using what you're using, that'll always be available, and we'll have some new click features. But are you going to continue to develop that online marketing, that platform of the business?
That's the most attractive part of the business, I think, for everybody in here. The automated emails, the automated booking, all that side of it. And that is stuff that is continuing to be improved upon. We're continuing to post email messages now to the booking engines now. So if you're a 4 marketing customer, just like your little Facebook notifier comes up, every time you send a golfer a new email, he'll have a little notifier with a golf ball saying, hey, you got a new message. Check this out from the golf course.
Things that were Golf Now technologies that are part of the relationship with Golf Now still are. Things that were were 4 reservations technologies that were part of being a 4 reservations customer still are. Both have gotten improvements. Both will continue to get improvements. And everyone has a choice on what really is the right strategy for the business.
And I would also add that in terms of helping golf courses connect to golfers, right? So we had golf courses before we made the acquisition that were trading 2 a day with us because we built them an app and we built them a website, and we provided some products beyond Golf Now. Those customers can now install 4 reservations and stay at 2 trade times a day, right? So, I mean, we thought, when that happened, we thought, man, that could be really great for the client, right? Like, we're saying, hey, you're already trading us 2 and we're providing all this stuff. By the way, we'll now include a POS and T-sheet system if you'd like to have it. So we're trying, like, we're always trying to help you guys connect to golfers. We thought, and still believe today, that was a nice thing that we could do, that we could increase the value we were delivering.
Go ahead, Joe.
Just as another option, we're talking about options. Some courses can't afford the servers, $10,000 setup. With 4UP, our technology is completely cloud-based, right? And I know there's some that claim cloud. Ours is completely cloud, which means I can pull up my entire software if I was a course operator on my iPhone, on my iPad. I could meet someone in the parking lot, check them in. I could swipe a credit card on there. I can look at their account history. Your setup cost when you come over to 4UP is absolutely zero. We do all your training, and you have your complete and limited support ongoing. We do all your account switch over, so we transfer all your customers and every other bit of data, and we put all of that in with no setup costs. So you can, in most cases, use all your existing hardware you're using now. We don't rely on the server. And so the advantage is, yeah, if there's pay options that are wanted, then it's, they're completely out there. They're available through us, and we can get you started in most cases in a day. We switch over courses all the time and can set them up and get them going, and then it's just a matter of whenever you guys are ready to go, whenever you feel comfortable on training. If your contract with us doesn't start till January, we can set you up today and you guys can run it parallel and get comfortable with it. So as far as talking about options and different things available, check out 4UP. Give us, contact us on our website, get a live demo of it, play with our account live, because you can use it on an iPad, you can use it on an Apple, a Macintosh, your laptop. If you want to progressively add stations to your golf course, just go pick up any computer and start using 4UP. It's that easy. We don't charge on a per station basis or a per user basis either. It's all unlimited.
Thanks, Joel. Question here from
Yeah, in regards
Scott Keller.
to, as a 4 reservations user for years and years, since the acquisition of 4 reservations, we're a little bit worried about the support and the things that are going on. It used to be you could call 4 reservations, someone would answer the phone almost immediately, be able to take care of your calls. Now you're on hold, you're having to get calls back. It's not the same level. The other thing is you've upgraded and made massive upgrades, but throughout the upgrades, whether or not you haven't vetted it as you did before, I mean, there's been problems. Just the other day, my website was down for several days because it couldn't handle the platform of an old XP. It was all new. I mean, it just seems like these things have been happening all this summer and fall, and whether or not there's that same level of commitment to 4 users who don't use the Golf Now platform.
Well, one thing that everybody can rest assured is the entire staff is still in Chicago. And the change in the phone system that you recommend was actually a proactive way. We spent about $50,000 to upgrade our phone system. And the reason was, before when you used to call us, and I'm sure Scott can attest, we had 5 lines and it would then push you straight to a voicemail, and you get a voicemail and you'd leave a message and then you'd get a call back same day. Well, now what we found was, with time being a little bit more sensitive, people wanted to wait for a minute to see if they could get a hold of somebody that was next off the line. So now we allow you the opportunity to wait on hold for 2.5 minutes, I believe, and then every 2.5 minutes from there up until 10 minutes, if nobody's picked up yet, the system will allow you to leave a message. Any message that you leave, if it's non-urgent, we promise we'll return the same day, all right? If you wait that full 10 minutes, all right, so that if you've waited that whole time and we haven't been able to get off the line with the person that we're talking to, then you'll be put to the top of the queue and you'll receive the first call back then when you do wait that full 10 minutes. Now, there were some coincidental timing issues. We had and this is a downside to cloud technology, we had a hosting or a hosted environment go down. It was unfortunately on a busy Labor Day holiday, and that affected credit card processing at a number of our golf courses, as well as a number of our tee time distributors, both third-party, integrated, not integrated, stuff like that. We're doing several things, like creating redundant environments. Your website that you mentioned went down. Do you guys self-host your DNS? I don't know if you're familiar with that or not.
No, everything is through your.
Because the only ones that went down last week were the ones that were self-hosted or they handle their own DNS settings, but we'll double check into that. They did release a redundant server environment last week. I believe it was last Wednesday or something like that. But there should have been no downtime experience, at least on the front end, that any of your users would have experienced.
No, mine was just
Another question, Bill?
from an XP to a, a more updated operating system. I mean, that was the problem, and I just discovered.
Well, and if you have Windows XP, 4 Reservations 2013 supports Windows XP, I can tell you that the next version of 4 Reservations, there's a good chance it probably won't.
Well, it's a bigger challenge with XP, right? Next year, Microsoft will stop.
Well, and that's the issue. Microsoft is going to stop supporting XP, or at least provide what they call service pack support. When the computer does no longer have service pack support, you're now using a non-PCI compliant computer. We think it's easier just to not install on that computer when it's not a supported version. So beginning with the 2013 version of 4, that was the first year, actually it might have been 2011, that we didn't install on Windows 2000. But, you know, typically those life cycles are 9 to 13 years for the operating system. I think it's a good idea to budget to replace your computers probably once every 5 years, if not more often than that.
We're going to take about 10 more minutes. I'm going to let each of these guys, starting at Ian, going all the way across to David, give a last thought. Yes? One question.
It's just a thought. Pete Lovick of the Road Run Golfers Club. My only question is, and to the panel, thank you. It has been a very enlightening conversation. You're all in the fray of your side of the industry. What do you see happening in the next 3 to 5 years?
Great question. Let's answer that in the context of a last thought, okay? For everyone? Is that good?
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ian.
Start with me? Okay. That was a lot. That was a lot of ideas flying around there. I think the one thing, that, and obviously the majority of you in this room are 4 Reservations customers, and you have a decision to make. You have to decide whether to continue and to trust that you're going to receive the same service and products and upgrades that you're used to, or whether you need to evaluate another system. And I think it's, to me, clear that, you know, number one, I'm not going to stand up here and say one system is the right fit for every single one of you. I don't think anyone is naive enough to think that's the case. But I think if you're a 4 Reservations customer and you've seen the acquisition by Golf Now, I think if you don't at least evaluate other options, that you're doing yourself a disservice. So take half an hour, take 20 minutes out of your day. Give me a call. My business cards are in the back. My cell phone's on there. And let's get on the computer together and do a 20-minute web demo. And at least have some knowledge of what the screens look like, what you're comparing, and hear about our solution. Hear about how, you know, our credit card solution doesn't all go to a central server. So we never have the opportunity to have the entire country down on a holiday weekend. When PCI compliancy comes out, we do it in a software-based system. We don't come to our customer base and say, we need you to spend $1,500 on a black box computer. We absorb that cost. So I encourage you just to evaluate the system. You may find that 4 Reservations is the right system for you. But I think if you don't at least look at Club Profit and even some of the others, that you're doing yourself a disservice. I appreciate everybody's attendance and your time. Thank you.
Thanks, Ian, for so. Thank you.
David. All right, so a lot of conversation about point of sales. Obviously, that's not me, so it is what it is, right? So I think, just like Ian, I mean, I think you guys, it's the right time. You have to start looking at different options that are out there. I'm not saying you're going to switch to anybody in particular, but if you did, I mean, there's options that are out there. From CoreStress perspective, I mean, we always want to talk about marketing, how to grow your database. So when you're up there talking, Jeff, I mean, that's music to my ears because that's what I do every day. So I wish we'd spend more time talking about how to get you guys to market your golf to your golfers at your price, with your value, and do it more directly without having to use third parties. That's what I do. So if you guys want to have those conversations, I want to have those conversations with you. My information's in the back. Some of you I'm already working with, obviously. But yeah, I mean, open-based system with course trends, open meaning I want to work with everybody. So if you work with Club Profit or if you want to work with Fora, I'm all game. If you want to work with IBS, I mean, that's, as an owner, you should make a decision who you work with, and then we should be able to work with them on top of that for you. And that's what we do.
David Hernandez, thank you. Joe?
Again, Joel Ragar with 4UP. It's been a little bit longer meeting, and you know, we have some core principles at our company. You maybe notice I'm a little bit younger than most in the group, and my age in the golf industry is quite younger. I'm probably one of the youngest guys at our company. But that's a core belief in our company, is that we acknowledge we're guys that sit in cubicles and at desks, right? We don't run golf courses. And so when we started building our software from the ground up, we went to over 100 courses across the country and we said, tell us everything you love, you hate, and you wish it did. And that's what we set out to do. So that's why, you know, the technologies we come out with are fantastic. They're comparable to other industries as leading and cutting edge. And we just invite everyone to come take a look at it. Go to 4upgolf.com. Set up a demo. We'll let you run the system live. We're completely open, and our technology is always advancing. So every couple weeks, we release a new update, and every single customer gets it. There's never any installs on the computer, so you just log in and it's there. So we just released an iPhone version that your carts can use and swipe credit cards and take dollars as their beverage carts are out there, completely integrated with your 4UP software. So the second a sale's done, it's done there. We have an iPad version as well. So then you meet them in the parking lot, you meet them on the number 1 tee, you can do fantastic customer support, and I challenge you to find a more intuitive and easy to use software, as we believe you can send emails in under 3 minutes, text messages to your customers in under 60 seconds. It's just on the cutting edge, and we just invite you to take a look at what else is out there.
Thank you, Joe. Mike?
Thanks. So I just would circle back to the concept or the idea of increased communication, right? And I would hope that you would leave here today and hopefully you've learned some things about Fora and how that will work going forward. You've learned things about all these companies. But I would genuinely encourage you all to consider putting something together where we could talk, whether it's a monthly basis or a quarterly basis. I'm completely open to that. I'm completely open to listening to, you know, new ideas about rain checks, right? Like, that can't happen unless we talk to each other. So I would hope that maybe you all could talk as a group about if that's something you'd like to explore going forward. That could even become a model, right, for other states moving forward. Maybe it's something you could incubate here and we could share it with other states moving forward. I appreciate everybody that came. Again, I think it's great that you guys are participating in your businesses. I think everybody in the room would acknowledge we'd like to see more of it, right? You guys would like to grow your membership and you'd like for more people to be involved. And I appreciate that and would agree with you guys. So thank you very much for your time and your attention. If you want to talk about where the business is headed, we can do that at some point. I certainly have ideas on that as well. Thanks.
Thanks, Mike.
No, I applaud everybody for coming out too. I mean, what you're dealing with here in Pennsylvania, it goes across the country, right? We all have a lot of questions. You know, where is this going to be in 3 to 5 years? It's going to be much different than what it is today, I can tell you that. We know that the phones, people are going to be booking on their phones, so 50, 60, 70% of the traffic is then going to be through your mobile device. So we see technology has got to be a partner with what you guys are trying to develop at the green grass level, right? So with Golf 18, our relationship with Course Trends is we try to build the course brand. You know, Golf Now, your inventory builds their brand. We want to help you build your own brand. Most of your play comes from your public around your facility. If you have a big enough email database and you provide value with the marketing programs that you do, you don't need third-party sites necessarily, right? If you're a high-end resort property and 90% of your business comes from, you know, travel, distribution is hugely important with the Golf Nows and the Golf 18s of the world. But booking engines, the technology, having best of breed with your POS and your tee sheet. So just stay abreast of where technology is going. Educate yourself on that and embrace it. I know I'm in the same situation, even though I'm in technology. My kids have a better grip of it than I do, but we have to embrace it. We have to educate ourselves and stay on top of it. So again, I applaud you all for taking your time out of your busy schedules, educating yourself on what's going on in the industry, and hopefully I can hear from you in the future.
Thanks, Jay. Scott Merchant.
I'll echo that. Thank you guys all for attending. The person I'll thank the most is this guy right over here, because I don't know how lucky you guys know you have it right now. Is that he is the best in the business. So if I was the AP ranker of state association,
You mean Greg, right?
I mean Greg. I'm sorry. Let me point. Right here, this guy. He's an asset, and he's a loud advocate, and I don't mind that you're loud, because I think we need more loud advocates. So, if you don't know my background, I helped start 4 Reservations. I was employee number 2 in that entity, and you know, over my time there of marketing in golf since '99 to 2012, you know, before there was a Golf Now, it's just every single person that comes into this industry wants to leverage the golf green fee to lower the price, and it's not one entity. Right? And as a marketeer and as a golfer and as a technologist, you know, I believe there's a better way. So my mentor, Harry Ipama, said, create the world as you want it to be. If you think there's a better way, go out and create that better way. And so when I left, I couldn't have left on better terms, and because I wanted to create the world as it needed to be. The NGCOA best practices are great, but right now they are on deaf ears. There was no solution. I came to talk here in 2007. I looked at my schedule. 2007 I came here talking about database marketing and low price guarantee and building your brand. So here we are, flash forward 6 years later. We didn't have the tools available, and there wasn't what I believe to be the better way, right? And so I believe the better way is all about rack rate. It's all about social growth of the game. It's not about discounting or going down to the bottom or selling green fees for $9. It's actually getting the game of golf growing, getting your friends out to play, and having them pay what you need in order to run your business. Run your numbers, right? Can't stress that enough. Charge what you want to charge. Jim Jones told me the greatest story. I'm going to write it down and put it on my bulletin board. Say no to the customer. Stand up to him and say, listen, I have a great product, right? This is what we need. This is how, I'm not driving a Mercedes-Benz. I live in a 2-story ranch house on the golf course, right? So it's that passion. I believe that we need a better way out there. We need that solution. So, you know, I encourage you, I appreciate the people that have supported us to this point. If you have contracts pending, please sign them. And if you're interested in what we're doing, you know, talk to me and I'd be glad to talk to you more about Golf Pipeline.
Thank you, Scott. Rob.
Thank you. Appreciate everybody also attending today. A little bit about myself. I'm Rob Smith from IBS. Very fortunate to have grown up in this space. I think it's very rare at one company that you actually have 2 employees that have attended over 20 consecutive PGA shows. If anybody remembers the Smith System days, that was my family's business. Since we're dealing with NGCOA, not private clubs, Jonas bought Smith. I decided to leave and find another family-owned business just because that's how I felt the philosophy should be relative to customer service, support, enhancements, all the things that go on and how we become business partners to you. And that's where IBS fit for me, was following that same type of integrity that my father had. One of the things that IBS is also very unique, we have 86 employees. We're based out of Richmond, Virginia. We do spend $1.5 million in R&D each year. We're also very fortunate to have a wide array of customers, everything from St. Andrews to Baltusrol to Medina to PGA Village to mom and pop driving ranges to municipalities to semi-privates and so forth. So IBS first got their start dealing with golf management companies and actually dealing with American Golf. We kicked around the name several times today. Anthony Strange is still the acting owner, actively involved. Started that. We currently have over 100 golf management companies with 4 or more locations, ranging from down through Orlando, the Celebration Golf, the WCIs, and so forth. So we have a wide mix of what we can do. We also take the software application to another height as well, from a real food and beverage application, a true membership application. Doing the Canongate clubs, for example, they have 40,000 members in their database with over 100,000 people in there that they market to. So we're running all of their clubs, everything from the Woodlands in Texas to the 25 different clubs in Atlanta, Georgia area. So we do handle a wide mix of all those types of things. But I think the most important piece, and we've heard some of this here at the end, is dealing with support. We have 5 salespeople at IBS, and we have 86 people. So the majority of our company structure is the customer-centric side. Currently, we're doing 67% of all incoming calls get answered by a support technician. The average response time, if you did have to leave a message, was 11 minutes last month, out of the entire month. So what we really focus on is exactly how you have to treat your clients and your golfers. We have to treat you guys the same. And that's why I've been at IBS for going on 8 years now, which is great. And actually coming up here, this Orlando will be my 23rd PGA show. So very appreciative. Again, thank you guys for the opportunity.
Thank you.
That's hard to follow.
Right.
That's hard to follow. You know, everyone in the room is passionate, right? And Kim made a great point that really resonated, that there's a lot of emotion in the room, you know, and we feel that. There's a lot of emotion up here as well, right? The 9 of us have passion behind what we do. I sat at your table, right? I spent my career 8 years with American Golf and then 8 years with Billy Casper Golf in regional operations. I was the general manager here at Golden Oaks and Fleetwood for a couple of years earlier on in my career, and I've run golf courses in Philadelphia and in Jack Frost Mountain, and I've touched a lot of the challenges that each of you faces. And I think my takeaway from today, and we ask about what's going to come in the next 3 to 5 years, my takeaway from today is that the passionate people up here, looking at all of you, talking to you, have to figure out a way to marry with the passion that you have about your businesses. And that might be through communication, as I think Mike very well put. It's also going to be through relevant products and development and technologies. Each of us up here has a passion about technology. The industry has a lot of, I think, growth with respect to embracing technology. I think each of us would agree, regardless of our differences, about one respective product over another. We really want to help the golf industry understand and embrace the technologies that are available to them so that they can better their businesses as a result. Okay? If that is Golf Now, or if it's Golf Switch, or if it's IBS, or if it's Club Profit, whatever that might be, great. We encourage you to try everything. Take a look at everything. If you look at one solution and don't look at others, I'd say shame on the room. I mean, you should be evaluating all the things that are available to you. What we want to understand and really work with the operators in the golf industry, perhaps better on, is how does technology continue to mature and evolve so that each of you can be better operators and each of you can reach audiences better, make better decisions, perhaps become more efficient, and ultimately, as Lamont said earlier, have more successful revenue lines. So I appreciate the time here. I think you were all gentler than maybe some of us might have expected or I might have expected. We've had some great spirited conversation. Greg and I are up late talking last night, and I think one thing that comes out of that communication is a mutual understanding of where each person is coming from, knowing that each person wants what's right, not only for his business, but the business in general, where we genuinely believe that what we're trying to provide up here on this panel can be good for your businesses. We'll believe it with a passion about Golf Now and 4 reservations. He'll believe it with a passion about IBS. That's great, right? Through that passion, we're going to articulate to you what each of those advantages are, and you make a decision that's right. So hopefully, from today, there are options for you to choose from, hopefully that are going to be beneficial to your businesses long term.
Thank you, Brian. David.
All right, last but hopefully not least, from 4 reservations, just want to thank all the customers in the room. A couple things that I think are very important to take away. If you're paying me cash today, budget that for next year. You're going to be paying me the same thing next year for all those services. B, there's no requirement to do a trade model. Okay, so if you've heard that or that's what you're concerned about, there is none of those requirements available. C, and that was something that was briefly touched on, your data is yours. Golf Channel, Golf Now has no interest in the database that's down there. I know that's been addressed as well, or that was part of the listserv posting. They have no interest in that database. That database will continue to reside locally at your facility, and they have no interest in mining that or doing anything along those lines. We're going to continue to work better to provide better software tools, more features. We're still working the landscape to figure out how these products are going to long-term fit together. My hope is that we can add something like the dynamic pricing, because you and I have talked a long time about how that's a really cool feature. You know, why couldn't we do that? Why can't I get $3 more on Saturday morning the same way that, you know, the football or the St. Louis Cardinals tickets skyrocketed the week during the playoffs because the demand was just through the roof. All right, so my goal is that we can continue to provide you those services. I want to definitely check out Bill's concerns with the support, because that's inexcusable, and anybody that's been a 4 reservations customer in here knows that's not how we operate, and that's not how we will operate going forward. And if you have any questions or need anything from me, continue to call or text or do whatever, you know, however you have gotten a hold of me in the past. All of my information remains the same. So, all right, thank you.
Well, folks, we're going to break for lunch. I just want to say, you know, a lot of these guys have come from across the United States with no guarantee of future business and no guarantee of current business. So would you please give them all a great